Happy Wednesday. I'm back with another YouTube video. And I just woke up not too long ago. Well, I woke up about an hour ago, I'm going to say. And I got myself together. Had my coffee. And I know I usually be energized, but I'm okay. It's just I haven't got myself perked up yet. Because this coffee, it usually gets me perked up. But we're going to make it. So I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I'm so excited to be making you this video because it's been on my mind for a couple of days. And today, the video that I'm going to be talking about and making is a video called about talking about what's my favorite show and why is it my favorite show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite show that I like to watch at times when I can, it doesn't come on TV anymore. It's on YouTube, and it's called Passions. It was a soap opera that ran from July the 4th, 1999 to August the 8th, 2008. It ran for nine consecutive years, and it was a success. And as you may know, I'm sitting outside. I got my phone propped up, so you don't have to be seeing all that moving. But I'm gonna tell you why it's my favorite show, and I'm going to tell you why it was a wonderful show. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, why is it my favorite show? Okay, well, let me first start off by saying I was introduced to the show when I was like 8 or 9 years old, 7 or 8 years old, 8 or 9, something like that. And how I came upon it was when I was younger. When you'll be out for school breaks, like you'll be out for school breaks, say for instance for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or the summer breaks. And that's all, pretty much I watched it. Besides from PBS Kids, Channel 2, and Channel 9, and everything, because, at that time, we didn't have, cable. We had the TV with the antennas, and you have to plug it in the back and try to move the antenna around to try to get a signal for the station to play good. That's basically how we had to do it. But now, it was a great show. And if I knew then what I knew now, I would have been still watching it. But luckily, I found it on YouTube. Somebody had posted it on YouTube. Again, this show is called Passions. So, well, let me tell you about Passions and why is it my favorite show. Okay, Passions is one of them shows that had a lot of storylines, and it had like a lot of weird, not weird, but it had it had a lot of messed up, kind of jaw-dropping, kind of like, why in the hell is this a storyline kind of thing going on? And I got a couple of characters too that I like, and I'm gonna tell you about those characters. Okay, Passions had the storyline about these, they had witches in the show that do powers, They had a good witch, they had a bad witch, and they had some other type of witch. But I'm gonna name these witches' names. These witches. Tabitha Lennox, Grace Bennett, and Kay Bennett. Now, Grace, she had a twin sister, but I watched it in the beginning. I'm going to tell you all what I know and what I saw, okay? That's the best I can do with that. So Tabitha Lennox, she was this witch. She's a witch, and her real name is Julia Mills. She was a witch, and she had this doll. She created this doll by the name of Timothy Lennox, and this character was played by Josh Ryan Evans. Now, Josh Ryan Evans, I think he was, he was the size of like a toddler, but he can talk. He was in his 20s. And I think he was born with a medical condition, but he didn't let that stop him from acting. He literally stuck with Tabitha. Him and Julia Mills, they was very good friends in real life. And they was in some wonderful storylines. And even though he didn't want to basically get in none of that shenanigans with his what character Tabitha was getting into, because basically she was a bad witch, and basically she caused trouble, for some people. And sadly, Josh Ryan Evans, aka Timothy Lennox, he died in 2002. He died the same day that his character died. He died in real life the day his character died on television. And that, for me, that was very, very sad, because I was 7 years old at the time. And when I look, cause see, I look stuff up. And when I looked it up, I'm like, wow, he died. I'm like, how is that possible? See, I didn't know how his condition worked. I didn't know. But I didn't know, I think he was was supposed to have surgery, and I don't know. I don't think the surgery was a success, I believe. But he died the same day in real life that his character died, and that is very, 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 very sad. But like I'm telling you now, his character was Timothy Lennox. He helped Tabitha Lennox. I'ma call her his mother. I'ma tell that. I'ma say that. I'ma call him her mother, because she created him. Got the same last name. He basically helped her get in a bunch of shenanigans that he did not want to get in, and it was kind of like a comedy skit. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like Passions had like some comedy in it too, but they kind of got in a bunch of stuff. But like I said, Tabitha Lennox was an evil, bad witch, and she caused trouble for a bunch of people. And one of those peoples was the character Charity. I can't pronounce her last name, but I'm going to call her Charity Bennett as well. I'm going to call her that as well, because I don't really know her last name. I forgot. Okay, Tabitha Lennox was responsible for Charity's mother's, Faith's, death. Apparently the house caught on fire, and Tabitha was behind that. And Tabitha, her being the bad witch, she killed Charity's mother. She killed her mother. And I don't know if Charity ever find out about it or anything. Because I watched the show. I watched the show around 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008 era. I didn't watch it around the 1999 to 2000 era, because that's the era where all that happened. I just basically watched it around the areas I just told you about. So I don't know if Charity ever found out about Tabitha Lennox, the bad witch that killed her mama. I don't really know about that one. But yeah, that's one character that I really liked it and about the storyline. Now, I'm gonna tell you about this other storylines they had. They had storylines where I may not tell it in order, and I don't know if all of you have saw the show Passions, but if you haven't, you must go and watch. It doesn't come on the TV anymore. It's off the air, but it is a wonderful show. I'm personally watching it now, not now, but I watch it after I watch my other shows. Just going back and down memory lane. Now, another storyline that they had like this interracial thing. You know, I'ma say this. Back in the day, they had like the storyline about an interracial couple that were supposed to be together, but they couldn't be together because one of the family members was prejudiced racist, and in the family that was basically racist, family member that was racist, to me, and how I saw it, was Alistair Crane. I think to me, all the time, I'll watch the show. It said, I took it as he was a racist because he would always tell his son. His son is Julian Crane, and he got a daughter named Sheridan Crane. And I'm gonna tell you why I think and thought Alistair Crane was a racist. Because his son, Julian Crane, when he was younger, he fell for this singer. At the time, her name was Dr. Eve Russell. And I'm going to get into her story as well, which I'm telling you now. He fell for this singer at the time named Eve Russell. And I really believed that they really loved each other, because I believed Eve loved him too. But let me tell you, this was at the time when they was younger, and I believe this was back at the time where, I don't know, was it really accepted back then? This was that time where if you wanted to be with somebody of a different race, if they were white or black, if a black person wanted to be with a white person, they had to do it discreetly. That's how I'm gonna put it. They had to do it discreetly. So if a white person wanted to be with a black person, they had to do it discreetly back in them days, because it wasn't accepted and people didn't really accept it. And let me tell you, it was kind of hard, for them, and it was and it was hard for other peoples as well, because I feel like this. Yes, I'm gonna touch a little personal subjects too, because I see it as this. Love has no color. It doesn't matter if a white person want to be with a black person. It doesn't matter if a black man want to be with a white woman, a white woman want to be with a black man want to be with a white man want to be with a black man. It doesn't matter. As long as those two people are in love and have good chemistry and have good feelings about each other, and if they get to know each other well, if they want to start a family, get to know each other better, and if everything goes well for them, let them be happy. Don't go by what a family member tells you, and don't go by if they like it or not, because it's not their life, it's your life, and I feel like you have a right to live it. Now, back to Eve and Julian Russell. Julian wanted to be with Eve, and Eve wanted to be with Julian. So the reason Julian could not be with Eve is because of his father, Alistair Crane. He basically told Julian, if you be with that black woman, I will disown you. You will not be a Crane. I will disown you from the Crane family, and you will not have anything. And let me tell you, the Crane family was loaded. Like, they was rich. They basically owned the town. Like, everything. They basically put their money in everything in that whole town. So basically the reason Julian couldn't be with Eve at that very time is because of she was black. And Alistair Crane, to me, was racist. But y'all, think a look at this though. Alistair Crane, he was a hypocrite. While he telling his brother Julian that he couldn't be with Eve because he was black. Tell me why Alistair Crane took it upon himself to rape and sleep with Eve Russell's sister, Liz, I can't pronounce the guy's name. Liz Russell. I'm gonna say Liz Russell. Tell me why he took it upon himself to rape Eve's sister, stepsister, Liz Russell. I'm gonna call her Liz Russell because I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm gonna say Liz Russell. Tell me why? Because he's a hypocrite. He say he don't want his son with a black woman. But Alistair Crane raped and slept with a black woman by the name of Liz, Eve Russell's sister. Now, Eve Russell's sister Liz was raped by Alistair, ended up getting pregnant by Alistair, having a son named Chad Harris, aka that is Alistair's son that Liz had by him. Chad didn't know that he was a Crane till about almost the last season, but Chad ended up getting disowned by his father. Not only because he was black, but because he was either he was gay or bisexual, and he was sleeping with his nephew. Now, I know that's crazy. He was sleeping with his nephew. His nephew was his brother's, Julian Crane's son by Eve Russell that they thought was dead. Crazy, right? Like I said, I'm telling y'all what I know and what I saw on the show. Crazy, right? And it's basically like everybody on that show is related. I'm like, wow. Everybody on that show is basically related. So that's basically what Alistair Crane told Julian. That If he be with that black woman, he would disown him from the family, take everything away from him, the company, his position in the company, his money and everything. But what Alistair didn't know that Eve and Julian had a child together. So now supposedly I thought the child, died in miscarriage by Eve. But apparently Alistair Crane had something to do with that. Took the child away from Eve without her knowing, thinking that the child was dead. But I think the child, aka Vincent at the time, was sent somewhere. And the child did not come back and did not come to the show to 2006, 2007 as a journalist editor. And he didn't know at that time that Eve Russell and Julian Crane was his dad. But let me tell you about that. I think Vincent had this might sound silly to y'all and this might sound a little too much, but I'm gonna tell you what they had. I think Vincent had like some womanly parts, because tell me why he disguised himself and he slept with his father and he got pregnant by his dad. And I was like, what in the... I like... No, I was like, what in the hell? Like, how in the hell do that happen? It was so confusing, to me, because I didn't know at the time. I was like 12 years old and I was watching this stuff. And at that time, I was finding this stuff entertaining, which it still is. And I love it. And I'm just going back and reliving it. Yeah. So that's what happened. I think the child went missing all those years ago. Alistair Crane, being Alistair, had all that money. And taking that child and sending it somewhere. Because the truth is, Alistair couldn't stand the fact of his son being with a black woman and also getting her pregnant and having a black child, a mixed child, a biracial child by this black woman. That's how bad and evil Alistair Crane was. Julian, he wasn't like his father, but at first he done everything his father told him to do, because his father basically ruled him, and whatever his father told him to do, he did it. And if he obeyed, if he disobeyed his father, basically his father would punish him and take his what the stuff that he had behind him away from him, which I think that is very crazy, y'all. That is crazy. So that's how that happened. And y'all, I'm going to try my best to get this whole thing told about why I like Passions and why I think it's a good show. And I'm going to tell you some of the storylines. But if I can't get it all done, I might make a part 1, part 2 video, okay? If that's okay with y'all. How would y'all like that? But, that's with that. Because I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of sad to me, because how are you going to be so cruel to your child just because they had a biracial child by a black person? How you going to be so cruel? Regardless of how you feel about that child is still human, and that child is part of you. No matter if you are the mother, the father, the grandfather, the grandmother, the aunt, the uncle, it doesn't matter. That child is part of your family, and that family is part of you. Because I think it's beautiful. I think it's the most wonderfulest thing ever to have a biracial child, because it spreads so much love, and it lets you know that no matter who you are with, it doesn't matter if you are with a white person or a black person. If one of those they have get pregnant and have children, to me it spreads love and positivity. But for others, it's like, because some parents and family members are not accepting of that. Like, they'd be like, oh, you slept with this black person, you got pregnant, and you having this black baby. If you get pregnant by that person, and if you be with that person and have that baby, I would disown you. And let me tell you, that's really in real life. People basically have to go through that in real life. And that is not right. But if I may, I don't want to go down the road. But I'm going to go on and say it anyway. And if y'all don't like it, y'all can turn off my video if you like, or what y'all going to do. But I'm going to say this anyway. This all started, interracial couples, I'm not going to say it all started, but it all takes back 300, 400 years ago when, back in that time, slavery time and this and that. But that's a story for another day. I'm not going to share that right now, but that's basically how it started to me. But I think having biracial kids is amazing. And I really think and I love interracial relationships because it's beautiful as well. Because you are able to be with the person that you truly love and that you truly want to be with, and the person that you have chemistry with, that you grew up with. I believe that everyone should be able to love who they want to love. It doesn't matter what race, what gender, what sexuality, it doesn't matter. Love is love. And it's beautiful love. Now back to the story. And I hope y'all enjoying this so far. I'm going to try to tell y'all as much as I can on this, because it may be a part 2. Okay. Now, Eve Russell, after that, it's kind of like her and Julian drifted apart, and Eve Russell turned to drugs and alcohol. This was before she met her husband, who she was married to now. She became a club singer, a jazz singer, and she was singing. She turned to drugs. She, didn't know if she was coming or going. She was young at the time. This was before she had her children. But I kind of felt bad for Eve at this time, because she felt like she couldn't be with the man that she loved. And plus, she left her family. Her family was Eve Russell's family. Her family was a church-going family. They was, they was all about the church. And basically, when Eve got up in age, she left the family. She abandoned her mother, and I think their father had died, and I think her mother had died too. I think of a broken heart. I'm not for sure. But so Eve leaves, and she goes. She becomes a jazz singer. And let me tell you, she can sing, because I listened to her couple of, And this woman named who plays Eve Russell is Tracy Ross. And the guy that played Julian is Ben Masters. Now, it's been a lot of characters that played Alistair. I can't pronounce his name, but you know. So after that, Eve gets arrested, you know, for doing drugs. Her sister Liz, who I'm gonna tell you about in a few minutes, tried to help her get her back home. And Eve was basically like, no, I'm fine. You go back home. You go back home. Liz tried to help Eve. But I'm going to tell you the story on why Liz and Eve had a falling out. And why Liz tried to destroy Liz. Liz tried to destroy Eve. So basically, Eve gets arrested, goes to prison. I think she served a little time, I believe. I'm not really sure. But it was, you know, it was wild, you know what I'm saying? So fast forward, Eve gets out of prison, I believe, and she gets married to a man named T.C. Russell. Now, I don't know T.C. Russell. And they get married. They have 2 wonderful daughters. Whitney Russell and Simone Russell had 2 wonderful daughters. And to me, I'm thinking that they live in this wonderful, they are this wonderful family that deserve happiness. But it was a lot of stuff back there. But let me tell y'all though, it's a lot of tea in this video. It's a lot of tea behind this show. It's a lot of hot dripping tea. Because I'm finna basically tell y'all how this happened, okay? I'm finna tell y'all some more. Like I said, this might be a part 2, okay? So, Eve and TC get married and they have daughters. And everything is all good. Except when Eve's sister, Liz, comes to Harmony. But she didn't know that Eve was in Harmony. And oh my goodness. That's when hell breaks loose for Eve. Because Liz comes back and finds Eve because she was in the hospital. And when Liz sees Eve, Liz was like, "You bitch." And she slaps Eve. And I was like, why in the hell? Why is this woman slapping this woman if it's this her sister? See, I didn't know they were sisters till later on the show. And that's where I got the backstory. It was like, okay, so the secret came out that Liz and Eve were sisters. But let me tell you how it became. Okay, so I believe Eve and TC was having problems, and Eve was walking and she saw Julian, and it was cold, and Whitney was walking from somewhere. Whitney discovered that Julian and Eve was kissing. So Whitney sees this and she confronts her mama about it. But TC don't have no idea that Whitney knows. Just like their daughter Simone has no idea that Whitney knows. Don't none of the family knows but Eve and Whitney that Whitney knows about that she kissed Julian. So Whitney is basically telling her mama, I'm gonna tell daddy that you was with Julian Crane. And Eve knew how much TC did not like Julian, because I'm gonna tell you the backstory on that as well. So Whitney finds her mama and Julian Crane kissing. And Whitney is not happy. She like furious. She like talking down on her mama, talking to her bad. But I'm gonna tell you this. Eve deserved that though, because you is not finna be doing all letting you in a marriage. Just because your marriage didn't work is in trouble. You still can talk whatever it is to talk about in your marriage or relationship. And although I don't condone a child disrespecting their parents, their mama or father, but Whitney was right. And so fast forward, the truth comes out. Because Liz know all about Eve and Julian. But this is the kicker right here. The reason why Liz hates Eve and wants Eve to pay for what she did to her. Apparently, when Eve left, Liz was still in that household. And apparently Liz and Eve's father was raping Liz. And basically Liz was telling Eve, and she was like, you left us, you broke mama's heart. Mama died and our father started raping me. And Eve was like, Liz, I'm so sorry. And Liz was like, not as sorry as you're gonna be. Because I'm gonna tell TC, your husband, about the whore and the dirty slut that you really are. That's basically what she was saying. That she was on drugs, that she went to jail, that she was an alcoholic, that she was a singer, and that she had a past with Julian Crane. She was going to tell all of that. And let me tell you, she did. She exposed Eve in front of Whitney, Simone, the Aunt Orma, which was played by Marla Gibbs. Probably about the whole family, really. And so it comes out, and TC and Julian gets the fight. And let me tell you, TC told Julian ass up. Julian had no shit for TC. And I'm going to tell you, it was a brutal fight. You know what I'm saying? Didn't nobody bleed or nothing, but it was a brutal fight. So the truth comes out that Eve and Liz are sisters. And the truth comes out that Eve used to be with Julian and that they had a baby together. And the truth also comes out that she used to be an alcoholic and a singer and used to do drugs. And after that, guess what happens? TC leaves Eve. He basically puts Eve at their house that they share. Because that's what Liz wanted. Liz wanted to come back to Harmony to cause all this trouble for Eve, her sister. All because of what Eve did. Liz came back to Harmony and she caused all this trouble for Eve. Because Eve, she lost her husband, she lost her family. But who was there to comfort her? Julian. See, that's what all Liz wanted. Liz wanted TC for herself. And guess what happened after that? After that happened, Liz makes her little way in the house, comfort TC, tells TC how sorry she is and how everything is going to be. So guess what happened next? Liz brainwashes TC, telling TC all the horrible things Eve did and how much of a horrible person she is. And so TC is going along with it. And so they filed for divorce from each other. Eve doesn't want the divorce. TC doesn't want the divorce. They wasn't going to go through with the divorce. But Liz persuaded TC to be like, give Eve the divorce. Eve doesn't love you. She lied to you. That's basically what TC was going by. He's basically letting his sister that destroyed everything for them get in her ear. That's basically how that happened. And it made me mad. So fast forward, they get a divorce. Eve ends up being with Julian. Julian and Eve try again. Julian started spoiling Eve with the finest jewelry, with the finest coats, mink coats and clothes, expensive jewelry, everything you could think of. And it was wonderful, everything was going well for, going well for Eve at that time. Like, even though her and TC went through what they went through, and even though her secret was exposed and everybody in the town knew it, to me, Eve deserved a break. It shouldn't have came out the way it did, but it did. And that's something you cannot help. We all can't help. Like, if you holding on to a secret big as that, of course it's going to come out, but my opinion is that it shouldn't have never came out the way it did. So fast forward, everything is going good, right? So fast forward to this. You think Eve is off the hook and you think she's getting a good break? Wrong. TC is brainwashed by Liz. At this point, he dislikes Eve and he's like, I can't believe I married you. You betrayed me. You lied to me after all these years to me and our daughters. And they looked at you like role models and you gonna do this. This is basically what TC is telling Liz. Eve. And Eve is like telling TC that she's sorry and that she never meant for it to happen. And she's very sorry. She never meant to hurt her family. So basically she thought she can put this behind her. She thought it was gone like poof. But here you go to Twister. So Louise and Sheridan, some more characters. I'm telling the story the best I can, y'all. And it may be a part 2. I think I'm going to have to do a part 2, okay? Okay, so Louise and Sheridan, they were supposed to get married. So it was their wedding day. Everybody was at the church. They was in the room, where you can get punch and a snack, hors d'oeuvres, or whatever they have. So basically, Liz and Eve got into it. But before the wedding, Eve comes back to the house to get her stuff, only to find her stuff in a garbage bag. that Liz packed up. TC didn't pack it. Liz packed it. Her sister packed her stuff while Eve's ex-husband didn't say nothing. So Liz comes in that house. Eve comes in the house. Eve is furious. She is mad as a woman scorned. She's mad. She's mad like a black woman. Diary of a mad black woman. She is mad. She is furious on her stuff being in the trash, and she already mad at Liz in a way, cause it already seems like that Eve wanted to beat Liz's ass. And let me tell you, I'm always for it, because Liz, she really did not have to do that how she did it. I was hoping Eve whooped Liz's ass, because she needed that good ass whooping. Like Diamond gave Ronnie on the Players Club, that's exactly how I was hoping Eve would do Liz. But when Liz saw her stuff in the garbage bag, Eve was like, what in the hell is going on here? And Liz started singing this. The next thing I know, Eve got mad and she was like, you know what? I'll kill you dead. So that's basically was a threat. I was shocked to hear that, and everybody was too. So they told Eve to leave, her and Julian. Julian went with her. Told her to leave, and guess what? She left. So now back to the wedding. You know, Eve and Liz, they was fighting at the punch bowl, arguing and stuff on how everything transpired. But this the trick. A woman by the name, another character of Rebecca Hotchkiss Crane, had some poison, and she was going to try to poison Eve with it. But let me tell you that the reason Rebecca wanted to poison Eve is because Rebecca was married to Julian Crane. And Julian Crane basically telling Rebecca that it's over, like he wants a divorce, because Rebecca wasn't nothing but a gold digging hoe. That's all she was. The reason she married him was because of the money. That's the only reason why she married him. So when she finds this out, she tries to talk to him and persuade him not to do it. And he was like, no, he's done. Because Rebecca, she was a funny character, but she done some undermined stuff that I didn't agree with. And I'm pretty sure if you watch the show, you will see what I'm talking about. Some things she made sense with, but most of the stuff is like, wow, really? You gonna do that? So basically, it's like, wow, you divorcing me for this other woman that you had a past with. But I might be leaving out some stuff, but I'm telling you, once again, I'm telling you what I saw and what I know. So basically, Rebecca poisoned Leah's drink. No, Eve's drink. Tried to poison Eve's drink. Poison Eve. So, because Rebecca took Eve's doctor ID card and went into the office supply and get some type of poison. And this is the same poison, ladies and gentlemen, that I should have told you about, that poisoned Alistair Crane, that almost killed him, that poisoned his cigar. But I really am leaving out a bunch of stuff. But like I said, I'm telling you what I can tell you and what I know. So basically, that's how that happened. And so she tries to, she poisons Eve's drinks. And they arguing and stuff. And Eve takes a sip of the punch. But she doesn't take a sip of the poison punch. She takes a sip of the punch. And then she started coughing. And so Liz takes a sip of her punch. But Liz takes a sip of the poison punch that was meant for Eve. And what happens? Liz falls out to the ground. Liz is poisoned. And then Eve is arrested because of that. And even though Eve didn't do it, even though Eve didn't poison her sister, she got arrested for it. Sad, isn't it? It's very sad. So, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to make a part 2 of my part 2 of why I like Passions and why it's a great show to me. I'm going to make a part 2. And hopefully I will be back one day this week with the part 2. So I hope you all watch part 1. And I will tell you in part 2 on why I like the show Passions. And I'll tell you about the other characters as well in the storylines. So I hope you all love this video. I want to thank you all for who has been rocking with me ever since I started back doing my YouTube. Thank you all so very much. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and continue to tell people about my videos. Share my content or tag me on y'all social medias who I follow to let them know about my videos, because I'm trying to get more subscribers and I'm trying to, get my fan base up. So I hope you all enjoy this wonderful video. Thank you all. And I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you. I love you all. Goodbye. And again, part 2 next time when I do another video. So thank you all. I love you all. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye-bye.